the qualifications for candidates really hasn't changed in 2,500 years. One of my favorite passages in the Bible, the book of Exodus, chapter 18, I think it's verse 21. When Moses and the slaves, the Hebrew slaves, come out of Egypt, and he meets his father-in-law called Jethro out in the desert. He says, well, how am I doing? And his father-in-law Jethro says, doing awesome, because you have 600,000 people, and you're trying to do everything all by yourself. So you got to have a government, you have to have people to help you. And so Moses said, well, how do I know who to pick? And then Jethro gave these 4 qualifications. He said, number 1, pick people of accomplishment. People who have already done something, not people who promise to do something in the future. Anyone who's watched my life as an attorney, as a freeholder, as a councilman, as a college professor, knows I met that qualification. Number 2, Jethro said people who fear God. Notice he didn't say religious. He didn't say people who love God, people who fear God. What does that mean? To me, it means someone who's going to do the right thing, even though they know nobody's looking and they know they can't get caught. And anyone who's known me has known I've been in many, many situations where I've had access to lots of money, lots of power, lots of things. I try to do my best to do the right thing, even though I could have gotten a lot richer, could have gotten more successful had I taken some shortcuts, which I did. Third category, people who speak the truth. And I have been known for speaking the truth, even though I hurt feelings sometimes, even though sometimes I don't tell people what they want to hear. I've done it in my personal life, I've done it as a lawyer, I've done it in politics, I'm doing that now. And finally the thing, 4th qualification, people who despise money, who aren't in it for the money. And anyone who knows me, again, knows I've had plenty of opportunities to get rich. I've done the right thing. Thank you.
From Cumberland County College, close to 70% of them are the first to get a degree beyond high school in this community. That is phenomenal. That's the direction, that's how you change from 21 and move your way up the ladder. The other key components that we've been focusing on very diligently for the last 5 years. I already mentioned earlier that juvenile crime. That committee, Cumberland Positive Youth Coalition, 85 plus people and organizations getting together have created opportunities for our youth. Boys and Girls Club now exists and is strong. There's a PAL program in every 3 of the major cities, Millville, Richmond, and Bryan, the first time since anybody could remember. There are activities and there are things going on that people have no idea are there to try to change our standing as a community. It is all based on education and how we can better serve the residents, not just the students, but the adult population, to raise their ability to have a better income. And that's what we've been fighting for the last 5 years. I will lend you this last fact. Right now, the last most statistics we just received at the end of August, unemployment is just under 7%. In 2012, it was over 13%. Things are happening and things are moving in the right direction.
Thank you. All right. Next. Name, please. Yes. Who you want to direct your question?
To everyone who's Republican, would you raise your hands, please, so I can see who you are? All right. Thank you very much. The first thing I want to say is I really appreciate your effort and what you're doing. Oftentimes, it's a thankless job. You don't make a lot of money, and you serve the community, and people love you until you vote against their issue and they vote against you. I was on the school board in Bolingbrook for 3 years, and I will never run for political office because of it. I came in today and I was offended when I walked in the room. Seth Grossman approached me, and he tried to give me his little card. He automatically, and I told him, I will not vote for any Republican, and I'm going to give you the reason in a minute. But he told me, well, you watch TV too much. Mr. Grossman, I'm Professor Emeritus, Cumberland County College. I read extensively, and I read the Wall Street Journal every single day, and I think I know about as much about politics as you do. I taught at Cumberland for 37 years, and that's why they made me Professor Emeritus. So my question to all my Republican friends, I have one simple question. As a man of God, former Boy Scout, Cub Scout, decorated Vietnam veteran, Professor Emeritus, Cumberland County College, elected school board member, father of 4 daughters, 4 granddaughters, why should I support any person who supports anyone who believes that our present president, leader of the Republican Party, is a good role model for our children and grandchildren? Answer that.
I'm supporting President Trump because he's a good president. And maybe in normal times, we ought to have somebody more polished, more genteel, more polite than President Trump. But as you know, these are not normal times. The country is in danger, and we all know why it's in danger, because people disrespect our country, they hate our country, they hate our flag, they hate our national anthem, they hate our Constitution. And so in these times, we need tough guys. I guess it's like in the movie The Godfather, remember? We all wanted that guy, the Hagen to be the consigliere in normal times, but these are not in normal times. Now, what is it that President Trump has done? He was the only candidate among the Republicans capable of defeating Hillary Clinton. And had we continued with Hillary Clinton, we would have had more bad trade deals, more stagnant economy, more people out of work, more illegal immigration. And that, by the way, that's the most important issue of all. Our country is being flooded with illegal immigrants, and that is costing us money for taxes, it's costing crime, it's breaking us up to people so we can't even communicate with people because we're a Tower of Babel. But most importantly, young people without skills are competing in the job market unfairly. And I think if you look at not what Trump has said, but what he has done, we have more people working, we have better jobs, we have better trade deals, the country is safer, our borders are being secure, and I think that he'd do a whole lot more if he didn't have that constant diet of hatred coming from the television. And yeah, most people who don't like Trump believe the junk that they see on TV, because 95% of the coverage is against Trump. And I believe that if he had Republican congressmen like me to back him up, he'd do more. Thank you.
My name is Robert Clegg. I'm a resident of the city of Lyman, and going along with the theme of tonight, I'm a 1965 graduate of Highland High School. We're the first class to go through the new high school on Chestnut Avenue. I have actually a two-part question, if I may. Okay, as you may know, the state of New Jersey is number 50 out of 50 for the amount of funds that come back here from Washington. I would ask our congressman, our hopeful congressman, how he would plan to make that a little more fair. And the other question is for our 4 freeholder candidates tonight. Besides being 50 out of 50, Cumberland County is 21st out of 21 in quality of life, infant mortality, graduation rates, and a half a dozen other things. How do you plan to fix that? Thank you.
All right, who's going to respond to it? All right, Mr. Grover.
I guess as the congressman, I'm the only one who that part of the question applies to. And unfortunately, I realized the problem when I traveled. I have cousins in Arizona, I have visited New Mexico, South Dakota, those little states that hardly have any people, but they all have the same 2 senators that we have. And basically the income tax was designed in 1913, basically to take money from rich states and redistribute to poor states. It's baked into the cake. The system is built that way. That's one thing we're dealing with. And if you look at Congress as a giant poker game with 435 representatives and 100 senators, that's 535 people. If you look at it as a giant poker game, and the job of our congressman is to somehow outsmart the other 534 to get more money for us and less money for them. Because remember, what you're talking about is for every dollar we get, they get less. And all I can say is every time we try to play that game, we get snookered. And that's why, if they take a poll of Congress, by the way, you take a poll, I think 23% of the people like Congress, right? Basically, 80% of the people think that Congress is doing a lousy job. But 90% of the people think their congressman is doing a great job, right? Why is that? Because what you see is the benefits that you get. You get the fire truck that comes paid for by Washington. You don't see all the money going out. and we always lose. So I will fight for this district. I will continue to fight for the Coast Guard station, for the tech center, for the various farm programs. I will keep whatever Frank Lobiondo brought us. I will keep that. But I think we have to understand the big picture and respect the Constitution.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend.
So I have a couple of questions, and it doesn't matter who answers my question. My first question is, for employment, there are some students who just do not want to go to college. What strategies do we have in place for them? There are some parties that have been incarcerated, and they're transitioning back into society. What opportunities are we providing to them? My next question is, and I'm a resident of the city of Bristol, and I love Bristol, but when I just returned to Bristol a year ago, I looked around and I saw stores closed downtown, I saw dilapidated homes. What are we doing about that? And then this question is for you, Mayor Kelly. You mentioned that there's $230 million projects in place, and I've heard about the Wawa, but what other projects are in place? So those are my questions, and once again, good luck to the candidates.
Mayor, you want to lead on?
Okay, just that the Democrats don't need a microphone, I don't need one. By the way, I'm so happy that the Democrats admit that unemployment is down so much since President Trump took office. Thank you very much. Our unemployment is still double the rest of the nation, so we get more.
Mr. Grossman. But I have to say, it went down before Trump got in office. So let's do that. Come on.
About college education. As a lawyer, first of all, a lot of what kids are learning in college now, about 40, 50 years when we graduated, we learned that stuff for free in high school. And now we have to pay $25,000 a year in college to learn stuff that we used to learn in high school. We have these kids with mortgage-sized loans that come to me with their small children trying to pay back these $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 loans, which are not dischargeable in bankruptcy. It's a tragedy that's going on. And I think that the solution is to recognize that many of these colleges are money-making machines that don't have the best interest of the students in mind. I know with my own kids, many times in certain areas, they learn more from YouTube videos than we're learning from their classes, which they use in marketing and other stuff. I was an associate professor, or rather an adjunct professor at our community college, and I can tell you that we taught in 2 years as much as many of the 4 years colleges were charging for much more money. So I think we have to start looking into having employers, including government employers, look for proficiency and skill, and not necessarily the piece of paper that people pay $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 for. And I think that'll be the first solution to getting our colleges to be more sensitive to the economic needs of students and parents.
All right.
Town, basically born and raised. So my question more so has to do with, and it's directed towards the individuals who are running for the city of Bridgeton and also for Mr. Grossman. So I'm also a defense attorney by trade. I've been practicing primarily in the city of Bridgeton for the last 8 years. And I hear a lot from the national, especially from the national and the world public about immigrants and the problems with immigrants and these high percentage of immigrants and then taking jobs and creating crimes. So the first question is, for my work in Bridgeton, I know that Bridgeton has a high immigrant population. And also for my work in Bridgeton, I would say that roughly, and we as public defenders represent people normally from at this point with new bail reform from the time of arrest, if there's a warrant on up. Probably less than 10% of my entire clientele is immigrant population. So this is more so, like I said, for those in the city of Bridgeton. One, what would you say the average immigrant or maybe non-documented person is? And what is actually, so I always hear that they commit all these crimes. Do we know the percentage of crimes committed? Like I said, from my perspective, it's probably less than 10%. I just kind of want to know what the actual numbers are.
want to respond to that? Other than Senator, Mr. Grossman? All right, I guess it's you.
The problem with immigration is, for 50 years, we had reasonable limits on immigration. We had 300,000 legal immigrants permitted in this country. When we had limits on immigration, all those immigrants quickly learned English, quickly got an education, and then they fully participated in the American life. And what happened was in 1965, Ted Kennedy changed the law to quadruple the number from 300,000 to 1.2 million. And then in the 1990s, Bush and Clinton decided to completely ignore immigration laws. In other words, when somebody robs a federal bank and they get off the parking lot, we still arrest them. But when an illegal immigrant makes it past the border, we call them undocumented immigrants, and they get food stamps and free education, free medical care, and so on. So we're not enforcing immigration laws. And now we have anywhere from 20 to 30 million illegal immigrants on top of about 40 to 50 legal immigrants. And what's the effect? We saw wages go down. We saw devastating unemployment in the minority communities. And the way to bring back the middle class, rising wages and full employment is to go back to what we had before, to limit the number of immigrants so we can handle it. And since Trump began enforcing those laws, the employment is going up, wages are going up, opportunity is going up. We've got to take care of Americans first. And then we can take care of the rest of the world, because there are 6 billion people in the world. And if we take another 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, we will accomplish nothing but make our country as poor and miserable as the countries that are running around.
It wasn't always that way.
We can somehow get past and this we're all here and we have
in here, so I can make a good decision on how to vote. But above being Republican or Democrats, we are all Americans, and we're all people of God. And I listen to Congressman Grossman. If the Congress and the Senate had given much attention to Barack Obama as y'all are giving to Trump, and if we had thought about honesty and integrity and morality, where do we go? Yes, he's jobs, but much of that is on the shoulders of Barack Obama. A lot of things that he's done has come out of Obama's administration. No, they're not going to say it, because they made the commitment amongst themselves, the Congress and the Senate. They weren't going to support Barack Obama. But y'all have supported Trump with all of his foolishness, his immorality, his dishonesty, his lack of integrity. Y'all have supported him to the hilt because you said he's creating more jobs. We have children. What are we telling our children? We're looking at this man who's not worthy to be called the President of the United States. He's not worthy. And if you be honest, Congressman Grossman, you said one of your points was truth. Be honest with yourself. Is that man worthy, despite of the jobs that he's created and some of the things he's done, is he worthy to be called the President of the United States? Especially since there was no lack of support, very little support for Barack Obama when he was President of these United States. And so I think we need to all take a look at how we're going to vote based on honesty and integrity and morality. We're fastly going down a precipice because we put all of those things aside because we got a few more jobs. But I'm telling you, if we don't do something about this soon, then none of us are gonna have to worry about it. That gentleman, that man, I don't even wanna call him a gentleman, that man has no business being called or being the president. Whether we're Democrat or Republican, if you're
As the impartial moderator, the church say amen. Next.
Excuse me, I think that question was directed at me.
Would you like to respond?
Excuse me, hold on, Mr. President, for the sake of time, we're going to go down to 1 minute.
Go ahead.
1 minute each.
First of all, I'm from Atlantic City. So I dealt with Donald Trump when he was building casinos, when he was creating jobs, when he was helping all of the communities around Atlantic City and around New Jersey. He was a celebrity, he was respected, as long as he wrote checks to Democrats like Hillary Clinton. And nobody had an unkind word to say about Donald Trump until the day he announced he was running for president as a Republican, until the day he opposed and defeated Hillary Clinton. And then all sorts of lies came up about President Trump, right? He was dealing with the Russians. You had Obama bugging his office. They lied in affidavits. The CIA was working against him. Everybody was working against him. You look at the network TVs. Lie, and lie. And what... How long was the question?
Mr. Grossman. Poor Donald.
One more for Democrats, one more for
We're only fielding questions from each individual one time. Okay, so if you already have stepped up to the mic, we can only have time for one appearance at the mic.
In this state, human trafficking, far beyond than what you can imagine. But I know the reality of it because I have parishioners. I know people that I know very closely. That's how come they'll work any job, because the debt to cross the border, just to come here to have a taste of freedom, to make life for themselves and their family, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, was $7,500. Not guaranteed to come across the border. They don't make that, so a contract is made with the coyote or a cartel. Families are coming in and they're separated because of the contract, so that contract is fulfilled. But when they come across the border, they don't have a place to live. They don't have a job. You want to know what's reality? They set up a business. They shake hands on it, but their family back home are threatened if they don't complete that. Think about a family of 4. 7,500 times 4. You're already talking $30,000 in debt. How can they go back home right away? They got to pay that off quick. You want to go further? They don't have a place to live. Now the contract goes further so they can have a place to live, and they make that contract so they can pay for a place, have food provided, and transportation, so the debt goes up even further. That's how come they work 50, 60, 70 hours a week in the farm field, in construction, landscaping. Let's be real. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ella Boykin, and I'm a resident of Lyman. This question is directed to those people seeking to become county freeholders. And it deals with one of the public questions that a lot of people just overlook or ignore. I would like to know for the freeholders.
Wait, do we have a rebuttal or you're answering the question?
I'm going to answer the question. Please, sir. you know, we're talking about when he was in Atlantic City, are we going to talk about all the businesses that he bankrupt because he refused to pay them?
Amen.
As to what we've seen, what about the Access interview that we saw when he was on the bus? So it's not all about, you know, what somebody's conspiracy or making up about it. It's things that we've seen with our own eyes when he talked about how he would treat women. So cut it out. Cut the nonsense out. We were born at night, but not last night.
Next. Your name, please.
My name is Michael McCoy, and being that I've been reduced to 1 minute now, I move a little fast. I'm going to ask simple questions. All right. Everyone present up there as a candidate, were you aware that this was an NAACP-sponsored event? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. So you knew that you would be addressing the black community predominantly, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I want everybody to show respect to these people because they came to us. People that are absent tonight will not get my vote. I only vote for people that pay attention to my community. You pay attention to my community, I vote. So now I have to make my decision on who I will be voting for. But Mr. Grossman, I don't know too much about you, but who are you running against?
The guy who's not here.
Actually, yeah, he just came in. Where's the
Mr. Grossman. Take it easy. I announced before we began that Senator Landrieu would be here. He called early today, or he had his aide to call me early this morning to let us know that he was going to be detained, but that he would be here. So, in the interest of time, because all the other candidates have had an opportunity to introduce themselves, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and talk about your platform.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I want to apologize for being late. I just couldn't help it. I was up the road. We had some things going on in Trenton today at the state capitol and some other issues, but I'm here. And thank you. And I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to have been part of Millville for a whole long time, and together we have to go forward and do great things. And I just wanted to speak a little bit about this election. This is an important election. Every election is an important election, but this is a really important election. This is a flashpoint election. And by that I mean it is going to determine to a great degree the future of our country, the future of our state, the future of our communities. Where are we going to go? Is it going to continue to be when you turn the television on at night that you're looking at what seems almost like a reality TV show? Or is it going to be a great America of intellectual debate, of a great future, of diversity, of openness, of frankness, of accomplishment? That's what I believe we need to do. Are we going to protect Social Security? Are we going to protect Medicare and Medicaid? Are we going to make sure that people have opportunity? That they, you can't give everybody success, but you certainly can give them opportunity. You can make sure that they can reach for the brass ring and that they can do better. It is one of the most important parts of America. Are we going to have an immigration plan that really works and is fair to people? Are we going to have a system of government that includes everyone? That's what tonight's about. That's why what you are all doing tonight means so much. Because it doesn't start somewhere you're far away in Washington or California or anywhere else. It starts right here, right now, in this AME church in Millville, New Jersey.
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Senator.
Also, what I wanted to say is to add to my original questions was that I came here to hear discussions that are reflective of my community. Now, this is not to down another community, but I'm here to speak on the black community. And that's what I want to hear things about, with best ways to advance our community. All right? Now, not saying that you can't talk about someone else tonight, But I would like to hear the progressive things that are going on in our community so that we can be talked about as well as everyone else was tonight. And Mr. DeFia, I want to say to you that I ran against Mr. DeFia and I lost. And I want to say you did a great job in my position, what would have been my position. but you did a good job, and he's worthy of my vote.
Like big shoes to fill, so I did my best.
Amen. Next, Nate.
One more. How you?
Name, please.
My name is Andre Burrs, recent graduate of Bridgeton High School, class of 2017, and currently a student at Cumberland County College. I have a question pertaining to the city board or the city council or those who have high ties to the Board of Education, and it mostly predominantly focuses on the Carver Early Education High School program that's currently at Cumberland County College. Have any of you seen it in action?
My name is Chloe Williams. So my question, I'm going to quote President Kennedy, because I agree with him in saying, it's not what your country can do for you, it's what you can do for your country. And so I do believe that people need to be more involved in the communities, but I think too often politicians take advantage of the fact that they aren't. So, and you guys are the leaders of our cities, our counties, our states, and the lack of involvement is partially a reflection of its leaders. So my question is, how do you plan to build trust in the community so that people want to be involved and invest in their community and in themselves? But before I end it, I do want to make a comment and a challenge to all of you. I've seen it here today, and I've seen it in past elections and most likely this election, the divide between the parties. And I don't identify with the party, to be honest, because I have my own way of thinking. And it's kind of embarrassing to see that such a divide, not even just on a local level, but on a national level. And one of the things that we are teaching our kids at one school in Bridgeton is the 7 habits of highly effective people. And one of those is synergy. And it's a shame if the reason, like, we can solve a lot of problems if we just all put our views, our different points of views together and make something great. Because with synergy, they say 1 + 1 is 3. So kind of like the challenges that are going on Instagram and on social media, I am challenging each one of you. It's called the #Integrity Challenge. And that's when you're campaigning to put your parties aside, not to mudsling and to down the other people and people that are against you, but to do your campaign based on your own integrity and what you stand for. Because I'm looking at your character if you need to put down one person to make yourself look better.
Time.
Thank you.
Like Ms. Williams, because everybody knows Ms. Williams comes in every council meeting. And so she is talking, becoming what she says the need in our community. And so when we are out campaigning, one of the things that Mr. DeFia and myself did this evening, we knocked on doors, we asked people to get involved. And one of the main questions they asked, how can we solve the crime problem? Well, I need you to get involved. I need fathers to go be coaches at the Little League and the football field and football teams. And so we have to do it together. And so, yes, we're going to go neighborhood by neighborhood, community meeting by community meeting, asking people to get involved. No, it doesn't matter what race or color or nationality. I want people to come to our council meeting. I want people to sign up. The 27th of this month, National Make a Difference Day. We're going to have a rally on the steps of City Hall. We're asking everybody in our area to come and get involved and be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
So I think you make a really good point, and I think it's one of the biggest problems that we have right now in the country, that there is such a great divide. And as leaders, we have the opportunity to either try to bring people together to make it better, or to even exacerbate it and make it worse. So I think it's so important that all the leaders, whether they're Republicans, Democrats, Independents, whomever, really do work at bringing people together. It is one of the issues I feel most strongly about, believe it or not, and I've spoken about a lot, even just most recently at the Stockton University debate when we had it, in that I think we have that responsibility to bring people together, and you start with one. You know, some people say, gee, you're going to be a freshman congressman. Do you really believe as a freshman congressman for the United States of America you're going to be able to make a difference? And my answer is yes. I think you can. That's how it happens. One step at a time, one bite at a time. We have to really work at it. So many things that you said were good. Ask not only what, you know, your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I love JFK. I think he's one of the most powerful speakers that there ever were in American history. And what he was saying then is, we're all in this together, and we have to fight and work together. I hate the time thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. All right, Mr. Grossman. I want you to feel slighted.
I have another social media thing for you to look at. Hashtag walk away or walk away from Democrats. And when you go that hashtag, you'll see a lot of people who used to be Democrats who turned away. Because they saw how after 8 years of Barack Obama, did the racial problems and the ethnic problems get better or did they get worse? And why did they get worse? Just ask hashtag, don't take my word for it, look it up, walk away from Democrats. And I wonder if John F. Kennedy...
I'm going to interrupt you because I...
No, I didn't interrupt you.
No, hold on.
Why are you interrupting me? No, let me finish. All right? So I'm just saying, hashtag walk away, hashtag walk away from Democrats. And then you go to my website, grossmanforcongress.com. Call me up and we'll talk about it.
And I personally challenge you to the hashtag integrity challenge.
Next question.
Next question. It's amazing. The whole Congress and the Senate refused to cooperate with the President of the United States. What is that? That's why. Still got stuff done. Amen? Next question. Name, please.
My name is Bruce Hall. I'm from Bristol, and I love my city. My city ran me out because we're not doing the right thing. The mayor, you said that you took the money and you trying to build Bristol Village. Bristol Village is not the only place in Bristol that people want to live. So why you beautifying that area when you got other areas in Bristol where people want to live and raise kids and raise family? I'm raising a family in Amity Heights. And then this guy tells me about building jails and building more jails. That's building jails, ain't getting us no job. And come to Jerry, ain't no place to have for no job. There's better jobs than coming to Jerry. Coming to Jerry, they got 10 people going there. See, do something for us as a black community. Do something for us. Y'all always talk about Millville, Atlantic City, violence. What about Bristol? You got buildings all boarded up in every area, burning down houses with doors on them. Build them back up. That's where I go in Bristol. I don't understand what's going on. Bristol just tear it down. That's my question to both of y'all guys. You in jail, teach those guys in jail, and they taught me to be respectful out on the street and bring their kids. You took the tin can, you got we didn't even got a swimming area, it didn't even cost Stony Point where the ducks took it over. You know what I mean? You got the zoo for a period where we used to swim. We ain't got nowhere to go.
Time.
What's going on, man?
Sunset Lake was empty for 3 years until
My concern in our community is AIDS. The former pastor of this church, he and I were on the planning board together for HIV and AIDS. And in the community now, you hear very, very little about HIV and AIDS. When I try to get information so that I can do my teaching in the churches and the community, I could not even find it. I had to go through Atlantic City to get information on HIV and AIDS. They have a little small facility here, very small, and it's so hidden away you wouldn't find it. They had to come and get me just to get the materials. Freeholders, my concern is that AIDS is not going away. It's out there and it's living. It's alive and well. And I would like to see more funding for us in the community that do community education for HIV and AIDS. Everything now seems it's always in Atlantic City. We have very little information here in Cumberland County. And Mayor, you know me well. And you know, I don't think it's right that all our funding is down in Atlantic City when we need stuff here in Cumberland County. So freeholders, if you want my vote, that's my concern.
What's your question?
Yes.
Question?
My question is, I want to see more funding here for Cumberland County. And
How will you
especially
bring
in the
more funding for
minority.
HIV and AIDS to Cumberland County?
Right, especially in the minority community. As you know, we just did a play, and Gail, you're part of that. And we had a very great turnout. But people are not aware that AIDS is still alive and well. And it's like a hush-up stuff. You don't hear anything anymore. But freeholders, that's what I'm asking. Can we get some money here, especially in our communities, the minority community, to get some help with HIV and AIDS? That's my question. Walk too fast.
HIV and AIDS. At the end of this month, it will be 65 years. A resident of Fairfield Township, but a resident of the county. And one of the things that has always been a problem, and I have asked this question over and over again of various people, but we have a transportation problem in our county. Several years ago, many years ago, I would go to our church conference, IMAME also. And I asked, we had the governor that would come, and for maybe 3 years straight, he would come and I would ask the question, what about Cumberland County? What about the real South Jersey? My brother used to wear a shirt that said, I'm from the real South Jersey. We have a transportation problem. We have a bus that if you were in a hurry, you couldn't get anywhere on time. And I've used that bus because I used it during a storm because I was a state worker and I needed to get to Vineland. And by the time I got to Vineland, they had to close the state because the bus was late and all. And my question is, what are you going to do about public transportation for the people in Cumberland County from Fort Norris to Millville to Bridgeton to Vineland, Fairfield Township, Millville, Morris Road?
I'll make an attempt. We have spent the last 5 years trying to expand great opportunities to
Second Sonic District. I'm here with Longmont Grandmaster Tyson Rasul Dawood, also our Senior Grand Warden Michael Anthony Wiggins.
And let me say before you go any further, you are the last at the mic.
Well, they say the best for last. But I pretty much already know what this side of the table will answer. But I just have one question for Mr. Grossman and the rest of the Republicans here. Would you trust Donald Trump with your daughter or your money?
Is anybody else?
Notice how we stray off. If you want to find an excuse, somebody wants to find an excuse not to like somebody. It's amazing how you can always find it. But listen how when Donald Trump said, "Make America great again," and think of all the negative things that were said about Donald Trump, just for saying, "Make America great again." People saying America never was great. But yet another gentleman said back, 30, 40 years ago, it was safe for any of us to walk anywhere in America. In Atlantic City, at 5 years old, my mom took me on the gym meal. At 10 years old, we walked on the boardwalk at night. So obviously something was done right before that is not being done now. And instead of being emotional and looking for ways to divide us, because Democrats love to divide us and get us arguing over absolutely nothing. Let's look at the fundamentals. Make America safe again. I'm sure if we talk about it, we will find solutions. Thank you.
Ask a question.
He answered it to the best of his ability. Thank the candidates for coming out.
Okay, anyone who's as old as I am, or you are, remember that the government didn't used to provide public transportation. We had all sorts of private bus companies, private jitney companies. You'd go anywhere, almost any time, got good service. And then suddenly the state government passed all these rules and regulations that put every single private scheduled bus and jitney company pretty much out of business. Once they did that, then they formed a socialism in action. The government was the only entity allowed to run public transportation. All the trains, all the buses, run by the government. And the first thing they did when New Jersey Transit was created, I believe it was in the 1980s, was they didn't have to follow any of the rules or regulations that the private companies had to follow when they were driven out of business. So now we have New Jersey Transit is a mess, more accidents than anywhere else, no maintenance, no organization. It's a total disaster. And so we have to think about not having the government control everything. That's why I worry about having the government run healthcare the way it's running New Jersey Transit. Thank you.
You said as old as you. How old are you?
So, anybody else want to respond to the flag?
No.
Oh, no? Okay. So this question is going to be pretty much for all of you. Bridgeton, born and raised. When I was a child, I could walk anywhere in Bridgeton that I wished. I would ride my bike to Millville, climb, did everything I wanted to do, and I always walked around and I always felt safe. Now, I live in Glassboro. Well, no, I sleep in Glassboro. I still live in Bridgeton. I teach in the school, and over the years, I have tried to teach the students as best as I could, but it's hard to teach kids about a future they don't see themselves in. So, I'm getting to my question for you. Because on September 26th, my phone got blown up while I was sitting in a meeting. Are you still at the school? Are you still at the school? Are you still at the school? Because there was a shooting 2 blocks away from my school. Happened in broad daylight. Now, this is not just a Bridgeton thing because it's happening all over in Cumberland County. So my question to all of you is, what can we do to make the streets safe? It is hard to teach kids about testing and everything else they have to learn when they can't unsee a dead body with 9, 10 holes in it. So what can we do to make it safe? I'm not just talking Bridgeton, Cumberland County. What can we do to make it safe? Kids are scared. Parents are scared. Now, I've been locked down in the school 3 times for gunshots where we can't leave. What can we do? What are you going to do? Because if I got to walk the streets and ask somebody to vote for you, I want to know what you're doing for them. Because Sesame Street said it. Who are the people in your neighborhood? It's the people that you meet when you're walking down the street, the people that you see each day. So don't come at election time and then disappear. So what can you do? I want to know what you can do. So I can go and tell the parents and my
Time.
how they will be safe.
Time.
To you, I respect you because you say exactly what you feel and how you think. Whether we agree with it or not, that is your opinion and that's your thought and you have a right to it. Most of us will come up and say, oh, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then guess what? When they get into office, all the things they say they were going to do, they don't do it. They have promised the black community so many things. And when they get into office, guess what they do? They forget all about what they promised us. Am I telling y'all the truth or no? Yes. Okay. So the bottom line is, the man had enough gall to come in here and express exactly how he felt. You can't get mad at him for that. I respect you. That don't mean I'm gonna give you my vote, but I still respect you. I'm not trying to be funny. It's just the flat out truth. But thank you so much for coming out. Robert, you have 2 minutes to state what you're running for and what township and all that other stuff. Sweetheart, you have the mic.
Hello, my name is Robert.
Trump, no, go. But these are questions not just to them, but for all of us. We got to get on board.
My name is Tawana Chavez. I'm from Richmond, New Jersey, and I'm running for a seat on the My name is Tawana Childers. I am a Bridgeton resident, and I am running for a seat on the Bridgeton School Board.
Senator.
My name is
Laurie Andra. I am running for a seat on Bridgeton School Board, and I am a Bridgeton resident. Thank you.
Seth Grossman from Atlantic City, running as the Republican for Congress for the 2nd District, runs all the way from exit 63 on the Parkway down to Cape May, across to the Delaware Bridge, includes California.